What is going on, guys? So today we're going to be going over the most recent live stream from ZOS pertaining to update 50 that gave us a sneak peek as to what's coming. So next patch we're going to be getting a complete werewolf rework and also class mastery passives, I guess is how we can call it. As it currently sets in ESO, if you are not subclassing, you kind of feel like you're falling behind. So if you're like a pure Nightblade or pure, sorcerer. Now we can't say that for Dragonite as we just received an update, but for every other class, if you are not subclassing, you feel like you're falling behind. You lose a lot of burst, a lot of sustain, even more defensive potential. And I think with these pure class passives, I think it could definitely shorten that gap and make it more lucrative to running a pure class. Now, the numbers that they've presented are definitely look very high. I don't think that they're going to go live that way, but if they do, we may have a pure class meta for a little while until they can kind of tone some things down as they release the new class reworks. That is something that they did mention. As they come out with the class reworks, they are going to be adjusting these passives as they go. So some of the ones that just give more vague base stats aren't necessarily going to be what's going to be finalized after the rework. So these will definitely receive some changes and some love as time goes on. So don't get really attached to the numbers. What I really want to go over is the framework and the overall design that they're going with this. And I honestly really like it. I think this will be one of the best updates in a very, very long time for ESO. I know we just got the Dragonite update, but this is going to affect a lot of classes and pretty much the whole entire landscape of ESO PvP. Before we get started, if you guys are enjoying the content, don't forget to like and subscribe and come check out my streams on YouTube and Twitch. Also, I have a ESO PvP Academy Discord. If you guys want to get some insight on builds, please join. There's a huge community there. Kind of went dormant for a while as I kind of quit and didn't play ESO. But if you guys want to rejoin, please do so. So as for the werewolf, there really isn't a whole lot that they really presented. Most of it was just visuals. That's pretty much it. Really don't have a whole lot of details. Probably won't until we get to the PTS. But they are coming out with a male and female variant of the werewolf. Now they did confirm, I hate to say it to all the furries out there, but they did confirm that it's not going to be some type of sexy werewolf. It's just going to have more fur. That's pretty much it. So for those of you guys that got your hopes up, I am sorry.
The reason we haven't got the female werewolf model to show is the male model feedback is going to kind of inform how we're doing that, because it's a lot easier to take that same rig and same model and convert the proportions and everything to work as the female and add on some more fluffy fur and everything so you can tell them apart. We don't want to go too far into the sexy werewolf territory, right? This is, she's going to be a sexy beast, but the emphasis here is on beast.
I'm sure somebody is
disappointed for that.
Hey, my apologies.
To preface these class mastery passives, you can only have 2 of these slotted, and they also mentioned that if you use one, sometimes you can't use another one. So I'm not sure if they're going to try to reduce damage. You can't run 2 damage ones. I'm not sure on the end goal, but I wanted to preface this. If you can pair some of these with damage, I think it's going to be nuts, but it's obviously something that they need to balance. So for the Nightblade, I think one of the most notable ones here is the Above and Beyond passive. So at base, it's going to give you heightened critical damage and healing by whatever amount. Currently, as it sets, it's 25%. But then it will also raise the cap critical damage and healing by 35%. So you have an extra 10% window to make up, but it will increase your overall damage cap of your critical damage and healing, which is pretty crazy for PvP. Some of the other notable ones here are the Detect Weakness. So this is going to give you more damage as the target gets lower health, which is actually kind of nuts. I think this damage will definitely be reduced. It's kind of like an inherent bloodthirsty for your damage. The other one I think was pretty cool was the Evasive Trance. So we haven't had a dodge mechanic like this in quite a long time. This was, as it used to be, base shuffle, used to dodge random attacks. So it was so it made you very, very tanky, passively. I think this will definitely be very, very cool. But for the next one, for the Templar, I think the Illuminary of Bravery is definitely very, very cool. This is going to give you 300 weapon and spell damage to your allies, and also doubles for you, so 600 weapon and spell damage. Sounds pretty insane. And then the In Radiance Judgment. So Burning Light deals damage. Your Templar abilities gain 2000 damage done for 3.1 seconds. So it's like an inherent Draugr or base buff to increase all of your damage to your Templar abilities. The other one is the Sacred Ground, giving you the damage shield, and then also increasing your recoveries while active. And then when the shield breaks, you gain 10 ultimate. I think Templar is going to be receiving some of the biggest buffs here, at least number wise. We really don't know how this will be when it hits the live server, but this is just kind of the base framework for now. Dragon Knight is receiving some pretty cool ones. I think the Booming Voice is pretty dope, increasing your recovery for every 10% of, or 10 points of ultimate spent. And then you have the Immovable Mountain, increasing your amount of damage you can block by 6% up to 5 times, so 30% more block mitigation. So if you wanted to be an L2, you know, DK in open world, you definitely can do that. The other one is the Unstoppable Force, like the Landslide. Improves your Landslide passive to increase the potency of your damage done, healing done, and damage shield strength by 1% per stack. So this is going to stack, I believe, onto your already 10% of Landslide. That's going to give you 20% more damage done, 10% healing done, and 10% larger shield strength. So next we have the Sorcerer, and I think one of the coolest ones here is the Implosion. If you guys remember this, played a long time ago. Implosion used to be like it would proc whenever somebody would get low health and they would just die, like an inherent execute. I think this is definitely a more toned down version, but definitely looks pretty good. So whenever you deal damage, you have a 1% chance for every 1% of missing health. The target has to deal an additional shock damage. So at 50%, you have a 50% chance. Pretty crazy. And it can occur once every 0.2 seconds. So just deal damage, run dots. This is going to be so strong. You know, if somebody's at 20% health and you have, you know, 5 or 6 skills ticking at once with, you know, elemental susceptibility, you know, with that proc, that sort of thing, you're going to be able to proc Implosion very easily. And I think this will be kind of nuts. Even as it sets, they're probably going to have to just tone down the base damage for this, but it's actually very, very strong. The other one is Front of Power. So to work with any sorcerer ability, increases your weapon and spell damage by 9% for 10 seconds. The weapon and spell damage is increased by 1% for every 1500 max magic and stamina you have, whichever is higher. So that's going to be another good passive as well. Really, those are kind of the main ones. I really don't play Sorc, so I'm not really an expert on how all of this is going to work. But definitely those are the two ones that kind of speak to me for like a stamina sorcerer that I typically play. The Warden one looks pretty crazy as well. So whenever you apply Chill, you can also apply Major Brittle for 2 seconds, increasing the critical damage taken by 20%. Absolutely busted, especially if you stack a lot of critical damage. This is going to be an insane buff. The other one is this Wild Adaptation. Gain 333 weapon and spell damage for each status effect on your target, up to a maximum of 1685. I would just look at the overall design. Don't worry about the numbers too much. Those numbers, you know, are just pretty crazy. But just that is insane alone. I really wish they'd probably tone down the numbers to not get people so excited. But that is nuts. 1600 damage if you have, you know, a ton of stats effects on them, and you don't even have to proc it on all of them yourself. You know, you could run in a group of wardens and just have an insane amount of damage with status effects. And then you also have the Thick Hide, which is pretty dope. Reduces your damage taken by 10% for if they have at least one status effect on them. Most people always have that, so a 10% base mitigation, and then also getting that Wild Adaptation is pretty nuts. As for the Necromancer, I think these will have to be more tested in PvP. They don't just give base stats kind of like the rest of them do. These are more kind of linked to your corpse mechanic. Really, we'll have to test these. Really don't have a whole lot of thoughts on them. I really don't play Necro that much. I don't even have one on PC. Played it on console. We'll definitely just have to test and see how these feel in PvP when these go live, or, you know, on the PTS. And for the Arcanist, I'll be honest, I've not really played Arcanist. Don't really have any thoughts on it. Here is the skill lines nonetheless. But that's going to wrap it up for me, guys. If you guys enjoyed this video, don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace out.